So first one, I need an element that was our source element. Element name. Oh, it's right here. And now we can combine it to the open element. Okay. I'm going to stop it right now. Okay, so that one is bound, and now I need to add data binding on my table. As you can see, we've created our data source, and right now I can see all of my parameters here in my table. Still have typo here. I'll need to fix that in the data source definition. Okay. So first, the source parameter. Let's see where I need to use that one. So connection parameter name, connection parameter name, connection parameter name, and connection parameter name. Okay, then the source instance is source index. Source index. And source index. Okay, destination element is oh, hang on a minute. The source instance I also need to use a select source instance recording. Okay, then destination element and select table element. Okay, so parameter destination parameter is the linked parameter name, and destination instance is the selected linked instance. Okay, let's just quickly take a look at the data source. This small typo here. Okay, let's save. Okay, so we still have some unbound variables on our duplicate element connection. So let's take a look. So source parameter is the connection parameter name. Source index is source index. It's easy. And then menu item text is the duplicate. It's at that one in the fixed variables action duplicate. Okay. Alright, our element connections are clean. So now we can try to run our test case. Okay, so it's opening our source element. And now it's looking for a source instance to select. And I forgot about this one. So in our initial run, the instance is set to none. Now I'm just going to manually change it to 1. I think that should make it work. Okay, it looks like that's not working, so I'll stop here. And let's take a look in our data source. So basically what I have here is I've set source instance that's always 1, 2, 3, and 4, but that's not true because on my first instance I will move from none to 1. After that I duplicate, I select one that has instance 1 and I change that one to 2. So in my data source, I will need to also add that initial instance. So I'll add in a new column, name it initial instance. Just gonna name it initial source instance to be 100% clear if someone else ever needs to work on this test. Okay, so that would be none. And then I'm going from 1, 2 to 3. Okay. Okay, apply this. And then I need to update my data binding. So this initial source instance is not linked yet. So from my source instance, I have another mistake here. So linked parameter should not be in the source instance. Okay, let's fix that while we're here. So source index and select source instance needs to be the initial one. And then select linked instance. Yeah, that one's okay. Okay, so let's use the initial one to select the linked parameter name and the source index, and let's see how that goes. I forgot to clean up. Okay, let's stop the test. So I'll just shift pause. Step pause button to stop the test. And this one I need to preset to none. Let's save it. Okay. Now let's just double check that parameter. parameter name shouldn't be. Okay. Let's run our test case. Okay, so it's still not a timeout, but it looks like it's not finding the select source instance. So I'll skip the timeout so I get the notification. Okay, so in the report, let's see. So it's finding the element, or it's finding the parameter name, the text. It's then moving up to the ancestor element, the tree item, and then it's trying to find the index comma box, which is failing. Alright, stupid typo here. I named it commobile box. Alright, so let's fix that in the pod. I probably typed this manually and made mistake here. So where is it? The source instance looks correct here. Yep, there it is, my commobile box. Okay, so let's fix that quickly. And run the test again. I'll just make sure my cube is clean. Okay, so element connections open and the Rx source element closed. That should be okay. Let's run our test case. Right, so it's using the wrong filter there. Okay, let's see. Yep, that one's using the right one. And then for the link parameter, it's also correct. It's failing that click, or I think it's going to fail. It's taking too long. Just gonna click it manually to see how it continues. Okay, so we have a failure there. Okay, so let's take a look in our report at what went wrong. So first thing was when selecting the source instance, it's not visible in the report, but it was using the wrong filter. So let's take a look at our data binding. So it was using one of the parameter names for the filter. Let's see, select source instance, parameter name, okay, and in the source parameter, this is also looking correct. So let's take a look at selecting the source instance. So we're clicking the source instance, clicking the filter combo box, and then we're typing link parameter name, but of course we should be typing source index name. I forgot to edit this when creating this recording. Okay, so let's save that. And let's see, second thing that went wrong in the report was when selecting the linked table parameter. So it's opening up the dropdown, and it should be selecting the parameter. So it's filling in the filter. The filtering is done correctly, but then we have here our report saying, I cannot find the item with text equal to 1, but of course it should be parameter name, and 1 is the instance. So it's not logical that it can't find it. We just have to find out where in our configuration this is incorrect. So let's take another look at our data binding. It's in the destination parameter, and all of those are the link parameter name. Destination instance is, yeah, this is the one. So when selecting the linked table parameter, the text that's used to actually select is set to use a destination instance. So this one should be then the destination parameter. Okay, that should fix the outstanding issues, and then let's run our test case again. So it's building. Let's bring up our element connections and clean it. Okay. And the test is starting up. Going to bring Cube to the front. Now also using a wrong name in the linked instance filter, it's still able to select it. Let's see if we can duplicate. it's not able to find it, I'm going to skip the wait. And then it's moving on to next, so I'll just fully stop the test. Okay, so duplicate, and in the duplication it's trying to find source index 2, but we still have to use the previous index there. So let's change that. Data binding. Duplication. So that's the source instance that's used on the duplication. So source index should be the initial source index for that row. Okay. And then we still had a second one. Let's see. My first row. So yeah, linked parameter name. It's using a linked parameter name when typing the instance. Let's take a look in our select links instance recording, and here we have the same thing as before. We are using the link parameter name, and we should have the destination index. Why is it not available here? We're just going to create a new one. Call it destination index. For destination instance. Okay, so as you can see, using adequate naming is really important once you start working with data sources. Okay, let's run our test phase again. Okay, so I've stopped the recording there for a minute to figure out what was going on, and I found the cause. It's in our select source instance recording. So as you have seen, it was opening the filter and then still typing none. So the cost for where we would expect it to type 1 and then select the one from the dropdown. Okay, reset here. So the cost for this is in our select source instance recording. So the thing is that we have used the same parameter twice. So in our parameter create-item duplicate paths, if I move on to the end here, we're using parameter called source index, and then in our actual recording we are also using a parameter called source index. Of course, the selection, let's go back to data miner for the selection. This is none at this time. So that's in our data table the initial value. Once we open it up, we want to use a new value. So the one. So what I'll have to do is add a new variable, and I'll name this source index to set. Okay, save our recording. As you can see, we have now one additional inbound variable. So we go into data binding, and the source instance should be linked to the source index to set. Okay, let's apply that and try to run the test case again. Let's check if everything has been reset. No. I'm going to close and open up the element connections again. Okay, so it's failing to find the link table elements. I'm going to break up the test. Okay, as you could see in the last test run, some things went wrong. The automation started selecting unexpected stuff from the dropdowns. So I took a closer look without recording, because it took me some time to figure it out. And I'll show you what I've changed to fix this. So first thing is, let's clear the display first. Okay, dropdowns. I'm going to take Ranorex to show you. So if I track an item in a dropdown, it's a list item with a certain text. That's what we've used before. But in fact, what we did is we were using the filter, and then clicking the filter result, or at least we thought we were. If I go and drag that, so I'm using F12 to temporarily skip the tracking. 1, and then I track the result. It's in a separate list. It's in a list called part filter control, and then we have the list box item with the text. So what I did in Ranorex is I've added this filter result. So using the list, then the list item, and then the actual text. So that was the first thing. And the second thing is when you drop down and you type something, it takes like, I don't know, half a second before this filter result is actually shown. So if a Ranorex engine finds something before that also matches the filter before it's actually shown, it might click the wrong thing. So what I did here in my Ranorex recording is I've added a wait for exists, also using that filter result. And I've set the timeout on the wait for to 5 seconds, but as I've already explained, a wait for exists will continue as soon as an item is found. So that doesn't really make a difference. And so what I did is I've used the same thing in all of my recordings. So in the select source instance, in the select linked instance, in the select linked table element, and in the select linked parameter. And if I now run my test case, you will see that once it starts running, it's selecting all of the correct items. Okay, so it's selected the first instance. It's now selecting the correct linked elements, then should move on to selecting the linked parameter. Okay, there we go, and then finally the linked instance. Okay, so selecting the linked instance there. And then it will start duplicating that line. Okay, so it's duplicated number 2 and it's now changing it into 3. What we could still do to further optimize the speed on this test is skip the linked element selection and linked parameter selection on the duplications. So you could create a second smart folder in there with the condition that, and you could basically use the same parameter as for the duplication, that if it's being duplicated, you do not need to set the linked element and the linked parameter. Okay, so our test case succeeded. There's one more thing we need to add, and that is saving and validating. I'll just copy over the save action. And then of course, in the data, we will open the closed card. Okay, so we're saving, and then we still need to do validation. For validation, we can basically do exactly the same. So you can add closing the element connection card, reopening it, and then create a validation which is similar to the element connection, but is also taking into account the linked instances. I'll leave that as an exercise for you to practice, and you do not need to create a new data source for the validation. You can just reuse the one we've created.